Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment below, and also subscribe to my channel. In today's video, we'll be making a COWL Bubu kaftan with no side seam. That is, there's no joining on the sides, only in front. So the materials we're needing for this tutorial, we're needing our fabric. I'm using two different colors of fabric, and I have 1.5 yards for each fabric. We'll need our scissors, our tailor's chalk, and our ruler. So the first thing we're going to do now is to join the two different colors of fabric together. The full length of the fabric is 60 inches, and I'll be working with the full length for the dress. So I'll place the right side of the fabric facing each other, and then I'll take it to my sewing machine and run a straight stitch down. So I'm only doing this because I'm using two different colors of fabric. If you're working with just one color of fabric, you just fold your fabric into two equal parts and then you start cutting. So I'll take it down to my sewing machine now and join the full 60 inches length together. So I've gone ahead to join both fabrics together. I joined it using 1/2 inch allowance. So the next thing we are going to do now, and we're working with the full length of the dress, 60 inches. So the next thing we are going to do now, come down to the base of the fabric. So from the closed edge, from the closed side of the fabric, come in by 30 inches. From the closed side of the fabric, mark 30 inches. So after marking your 30 inches, take your ruler now and connect that 30 inches mark all the way down to the top of the open edge. So connect the 30 inches marked at the base down to the top of the opened edge. So use your long ruler to connect both lines together, to connect both points together, So keep drawing it all the way down to the 30 inches mark. So I've gone ahead to connect the 30 inches marked down to the open side of the fabric, the top of the open edge of the fabric. As you can see, I drew a line down to meet the 30 inches mark. So on this 30 inches point we marked, we're going to look for the midpoint. That is, from the closed angle, look for the midpoint of the 30 inches, which is 15 inches. Go ahead to mark out 15 inches. Then on the line we used to connect 30 inches down to the top of the dress of the fabric, come up by 15 inches. Note that this measurement is not fixed, depending on how open you want the front part to be. So you can come up as high as 16 inches, 17 inches, or as low as 14 inches or 13 inches. Just depends on your choice. So the next thing to do now is to form a curve all the way from the 15 inches mark down to this point. So connect the midpoint of the 30 inches down to the 15 inches mark. So I'll just go ahead to draw out the curve very well so as not to have a sharp edge at that point. So we're still working on the base of the fabric. So the first thing we did was to come in by 30 inches from the closed point. Then we connected it down to the upper part of the open edge of the fabric. We came down to look for the midpoint and went up by 15 inches here and drew a slant to meet the other point. Then now we have a slant line all the way up. So the next thing to do now is to cut the neckline of the back panel. So we'll be cutting on the closed side of the fabric, the upper part of the closed side of the fabric. Remember, we were working on the lower part, now we're coming to the upper part. So on the closed side of the upper part, we're going to be cutting the back neckline. So I'm emphasizing on these things because we can't see the whole fabric at once. So that's why I'm saying all these things for clarity. So for the wideness of the neckline, I'll be going in by 3 inches. Oh, sorry, 3.5 inches for the wideness. And for the depth, I'll come down by 2 inches. So I'll go ahead now and connect both points together, forming a curve, and then I'll cut it out. So the next thing to do now is to cut out our dress from the fabric. So the points we've initially marked before. So I'll go ahead now and cut out the line. I'll cut it all the way down. So I've gone ahead to cut out the dress from the fabric, and this is what it looks like. So the next thing to do now is to close up the opened parts. So I'll take it to my sewing machine and close it up, but I'll go up by 15 inches. The 15 inches point where we'll form the curve, I'll mark it out because that is the place where I will stop the joining. You can go ahead to notch that point so that when you are sewing, you stop joining at that point, because that part is going to form the slits at the front opening. So I've finished joining the two fabrics together on the open side, and this is what it looks like. So I stopped on the 15 inches mark I talked about earlier. So this is the opening at the front. The next thing to do now is to open up the dress. So you open it up in a way to match the two different colors of fabric together. So this is the back neckline we'll cut out initially. So after opening up the dress, this is what we're going to have. That's the back part and this is the front part. So you can see we have some excess fabric at the other side. So I'm just going to go ahead now and cut it out. Trim out the excess fabric you have after opening up. So after that, the next thing we are going to do now is to cut out our front neckline. So go ahead to fold your fabric this way. So this is the front part of the dress. So for the wideness of the neck, I will maintain the same 3.5 inches I used for the back panel. Then for the depth, I'll be using 7 inches because it's a V-neck. So I'll go ahead to connect both points together. After connecting, go ahead to cut it out. After that, open up the fabric to match the front neckline and the back neckline together. So this is what it looks like, and you can see how beautiful it looks. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to finish up the front neckline and the back neckline, and I'll be using a bias strip to do that. I'll show you guys when I'm done with it. So I'll finish the neckline for both the front panel and the back panel, and this is what it looks like. So the next thing I'm going to do is to secure the shoulders together. So I'll take it to my sewing machine, I'll mark it from the neckline and sew it all the way. But I'll take my tape rule now and come in by 7 inches. So depending on you, depending on how wide you want it to be, the armhole, you can make it 8 inches or 9 inches or even less than, depending on the size of person you are working with. So while I'm sewing, I'm going to make a notch at that point because that is where I'm going to stop sewing. So I'll join it all the way from the neck and stop sewing there. This opening is going to serve as the point where our arm is going to come out through. It's going to serve as our armhole. So I'll come to the other side of the fabric and I'll come in by 7 inches again. I'll notch that point, then while sewing I'll stop there. So after doing that, I'll go over to the base of the dress and just hem in the edges for a neat finishing. I'll go ahead to hem it all the way round. So I'll hem it all the way around, and when I'm done with that, I'll show you guys the next thing to do. So guys, I'm gonna head to join the shoulders together, and this is what it looks like. I also went ahead to fold in the armhole opening, and also I hemmed the base for a neat finishing. So I'm just going to go ahead and give it a good press. I'm going to iron it very well. So if you find this video useful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, leave a comment below, and subscribe to my channel. See you guys in my next video. Bye.